Jai Hind and good evening, everyone. Today we are going to discuss class 10th CBSE chapter number 5 Footprint Without Feet. This chapter is written by H.G.Wells. First, we will know about the background of this chapter. Before to start, I would like to ask one question with you all. Can a man become invisible? Have you remember one of the movie came, which movie name was Mr. India? I hope you all have remember. आप लोगों में से कितने लोगों ने वो मूवी देखी है? जरा सोचिए, अगर से आपके पास ऐसा पावर आ जाए जिससे आप इनविजिबल हो जाएं, तो आप क्या क्या करना चाहेंगे? जी हाँ, बिल्कुल जी। अब सभी लोग जल्दी जल्दी सोच रहे हैं कि मैं ये करूँगा, मैं वो करूँगा, मैं ये करूँगा। सेम चीज़ हम इस चैप्टर में पढ़ेंगे. इन दिस स्टोरी वी ऑल विल नो one of the person who is scientist who discover how to make himself invisible, and after got that invisible power, does he use or misuse? Let's see in this chapter. Some of the key points we will start to discuss. Griffin, a scientist, discovered a rare drug which can make a person invisible. His landlord dislikes him. Griffin wants to revenge on him. He swallows the drug and put the house on fire. He puts off clothes, become invisible, and runs away. It was cold weather and he felt the need of clothes. He sleeps inside a cloth store, had meal, and slept at night. Two attendants chased him in the morning. He was again homeless and clothless. He loots a shopkeeper of a theatrical company and catches a train to Iping village to live in a village. The money of loot doesn't last long. He steals money from the side of clergyman's desks to pay rent. Suspicion falls on the scientist. When he pays rent, Mrs. Hall finds the room of the scientist opened. She wants to look into the room. A hat springs up and hits on her face. The chair of the room becomes alive and forces Mr. and Mrs. Halls out of the room. Suddenly Griffin appear from nowhere. When Mr. and Mrs. Hall inquire about theft, Griffin gets angry. He removes the bandage and false nose. Now he was headless. The constable is called to arrest the headless man, but he is wounded by the invisible scientist. ओके, अब आगे हम यहाँ समरी देखेंगे इस चैप्टर की. Whatever I have discussed, that was the key point. Now let's see the summary of this chapter. Griffin, an eccentric scientist, discover a rare drug. This could make a naked man invisible. He was not liked by his landlord. He decided to take revenge on him. One day, He set his landlord's house on fire. Then he drank his rare drug and put off his clothes. Now he could see everyone, but none could see him. He was safe from being caught. But he was without clothes, and it was very cold. He passed the night in a London store. He stole goods and money from the store. Then he went to a village called Iping. He stayed at an inn. He stole money from clergyman's desk. A policeman named Jeffers was called. A strange fight took place. Griffin took off his bandage, his glasses, and his hat. Now he looked helpless. People were horrified. Griffin hit the policeman. He got free and ran away. It is all about the summary. Now, again, a story in brief. Two boys saw fresh footprint of an invisible man in the street of London. These footprints were of a lawless scientist named Griffin. He discovered a rare drug which could make him invisible. His landlord disliked him and tried to reject him. In revenge, Griffin set fire to the house. He swallowed drug and removed his clothes to become invisible. He was homeless, wandered until he happened to step in one mud and left footprint as he walked. He escaped easily enough from the boys who followed the footprint. He wandered in the street of London. He faced cold weather and felt the need of clothes and food. He slept inside a big London store for warmth. He fitted himself out with warm clothes soon, with shoes, an overcoat, and a hat. Wide brimmed hat. Later, he became a fully dressed and visible person. In the kitchen of the restaurant, he enjoyed the meal. He fell asleep on the pile of quilts. Late in the morning. The store attendant gave him a chase, but he made himself free by removing his clothes. Then he entered a theatrical company where he dressed up again and looted some money from the shopkeeper. He wanted to live freely without any disturbance, so he caught a train to Lipping village and hired a room at the inn. The money of the loot did not last long, and he again had to rob a clergyman of his money. After some time, Mr. and Mrs. Hall visited his room. When they found the door of the room opened, they found nobody inside, but the chair and other things in the room became alive. The hat lying on the bedpost leaped up and dashed itself into the face of the landlady. Then the bedroom chair became alive and it pushed the innkeeper and his wife out of the room. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysterics. She thought that it was matter of witchcraft. She was convinced that the room was haunted by spirit and the stranger had somehow caused these to enter into her furniture. By the time the news of the robbery spread and everybody suspected the scientist, the suspicion grew stronger when he produced ready cash, whereas he had accepted some time before that he had a money. The village constable was sent for. Instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist and asked how came out of an empty room and how he entered a locked room. The eccentric scientist lost his temper when he faced question from Mrs. Hall. He threw off the bandage, spectacles, and false nose. This made his head invisible. When the constable, Mr. Jaffers, reached there, he saw that he had to arrest an headless man. He tried to get hold of him by Griffin, but Griffin outsmarted him by throwing them, and that's what happened there, throwing away his clothes again, and he became invisible, knocked down the constable out of the senses. The people who tried to help the constable received the blow, however, thus he again escaped from the scene unnoticed.